Hey there, Messiah. This is Katie and Magdalena and our puppy Porter with our hymn devotion for Sunday, December 6th. We're going to be looking at the Christmas hymn, Love Came Down at Christmas. This hymn is actually a piece of poetry written by a woman author, Christina Rossetti. She was born to a very artistic family in the 19th century in London. Her father and all of her siblings were either artists or writers, and they, during their lifetime, associated with many different artists and writers in the London area. Her brother was actually one of the founders of the pre-Raphaelite movement, which I don't really know anything about, but it's an interesting tidbit. And some of the pictures that you'll see of her in this video were actually painted by her brother. So Christina belonged to this very artistic family, and she herself was a writer. She is considered by some people to be the successor of the famous English poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So she became very well known. After many hardships in her life for both her and her mother, she became a very religious person. And even though not a lot of her poetry was meant by her to be set as hymns, quite a few of them were, and the two that have entered into our repertoire are this one, Love Came Down at Christmas, and the other Christmas hymn that you might know, In the Bleak Midwinter. So one interesting thing that I discovered when I was looking at this hymn is that when a piece of really great poetry is used as a hymn, often this inspires a lot of different composers to set that text in choral settings. So if you go online to my written devotion, you'll find a link to a YouTube playlist of a couple different arrangements of this text, and I really enjoyed listening to them. I think that it really brings a new dimension to the text when you listen to different arrangements of it. So before Sunday, I would encourage you to take a listen and see if you can hear what different composers decide to focus on in these words. It's all the same words, but we come up with some very different music. So I hope that you enjoy listening to that this week. I wanted to mostly let this pretty text speak for itself. But I'll just offer a few thoughts on the final line of the hymn today, which is love for plea and gift and sign. So this line really summarizes a lot of what Christina writes about in the rest of the text. Love functions as three different things, and we can think of love connecting to the themes of Christmas in these three different ways as well. So let's take a look at them separately. Love as plea. We are able to plead to God in prayer for reconciliation because He loved us. He opened the way of everlasting life to us through His Son Jesus. And Jesus, we know from Scripture, sits at God's right hand now to plead or intercede for us. We are able to pray to God for reconciliation because He first loved us and opened this way of salvation to us in Jesus. Second, love is a gift, and the gift of Jesus in the manger is the foremost expression of God's love. God gives this gift to us freely without any merit on our part, and God's graciousness knows no bounds. His love is freely given to everyone who calls on His name. And then finally, the incarnation of Jesus is a sign of God's love. A sign, if you think about what a sign is, it's something that you can see visibly. And we see God in person in the man of Jesus. God's love is made manifest in a human being who is both truly God and truly man. If we ever doubt God's love, we can look at Jesus. He came to earth because he loved us so much and wants to spend eternity with us that he came to save us from our sin. And I hope that we can contemplate love in these 3 ways throughout this Advent and Christmas season. So thanks for joining us on our kitchen floor to talk about Love Came Down at Christmas. I do hope you enjoy listening to some different arrangements of this hymn this coming week. And as the hymn is played for you at the end of this devotion, you can meditate on the text that we will sing on Sunday. God's peace.